And we continue to follow developing news this morning. Rio Rancho police are calling the deaths of several people found inside a home suspicious. This morning, they're trying to sort out exactly what happened.
Detectives have been on scene all night at that home near Southern and Country Club Drive, and News 13's Catherine Mazzone is there this morning, live in Rio Rancho with the very latest. Catherine.
Good morning, Adam. It's quiet here in this Rio Rancho neighborhood, a very different scene from what neighbors saw last night. Now, police are still staying tight-lipped about how many people died, how they died, and who those people were. Here's what we know so far. A police officer made the discovery around 5:30 yesterday evening at a home on Diez y Ocho Court near Southern and Country Club Drive. The officer was originally called out to the home for a civil matter. But Rio Rancho police are not saying what that civil matter was.
The deaths have been deemed suspicious at this point. Detectives of the Rio Rancho Police Department are obtaining search warrants and processing evidence and trying to determine the events that led to the deaths of those persons.
Now, police also say so far no arrests have been made, but they are talking to several people. Back to you, Adam.
All right, Catherine, thanks, of course, for staying on top of the latest information as it does come into our newsroom. We'll keep you updated both on air and online at KRQE.com.
New this morning, Santa Fe police officers need your help in tracking down a robbery suspect who held up a Papa Murphy's pizza store. It happened yesterday near Zia and St. Francis Drive around 8 last night, according to police. The suspect seen here walked in and implied he had a weapon. No word on how much cash he made out with. The suspect is said to be in his late 20s to 30s, last seen wearing baggy clothes and a skull face mask. If you recognize him, you're asked to call police.
The ACLU is now going after the government, seeking some information about allegations of abuse involving migrant children. This also includes those detained in facilities like the one in Artesia, New Mexico. They claim the government has stonewalled their requests for records pertaining to those children. Last June, the ACLU filed a complaint alleging more than 100 kids have been abused and mistreated while in Border Patrol custody, claiming authorities denied adequate hygiene supplies, bedding, food, water, and medical care.
People kicked out of a downtown homeless camp now have a new place to go. Monday, the city gave campers an order to leave by this morning or face a judge. But people living at 10 City packed up and moved from First and Iron to this empty lot a few blocks away on 2nd in Santa Fe. The Borealis Neighborhood Association and Borealis Community Coalition stepped in and gave campers written permission to stay in a vacant lot that they own.
Also developing this morning, President Obama's request to authorize a 6-month U.S. military campaign against ISIS is now in the hands of Congress. This follows months of coalition airstrikes on ISIS targets in Iraq and Syria. The president's plan opens the door to using American ground troops. Right now, lawmakers on both sides are weighing those options, asking for more details. The president's proposal is getting mixed reaction from New Mexico's congressional delegation this morning. President Obama promises it won't become a war like the ones fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, but he's not ruling out sending some troops in if it's necessary.
With groups like this, there is only one option.
President.
With violent groups like this, there is only one option. With our allies and partners, we are going to degrade and ultimately destroy this terrorist group.
Senator Martin Heinrich and Representative Michelle Lujan Grisham, both Democrats, are worried about the possibility of sending troops on the ground. Republican Representative Steve Pierce says he wants to hear a more clear strategy from the president.
It's now 6:05. The UNM Athletic Department released its wish list for the next 5 years, and it includes upgrades to a lot of facilities. The 5-year plan includes goals to increase ticket sales by advertising more and making the athletic events more enjoyable by bringing in better entertainment during the games. UNM hopes to make $2 million more on its best seats and luxury boxes. The university wants to work on the baseball, track and field and skiing facilities. It also hopes to renovate the football stadium, but the plan doesn't say how. You can read the full 5-year plan on our website, KRQE.com.
On to this, frustration is growing among Lobo basketball fans. The team has lost 3 games in a row and has a mediocre conference record at 6-6. Local sports radio shows say fans are calling in to vent their frustration.
What I saw was a team that seemed to be struggling with its identity. Is a lack of platform confidence. There isn't a leader on the court.
I don't think the season's what any Lobo fan hoped for.
Attendance is still strong, though. UNM takes on Nevada in Reno on Saturday. The captain of the Costa Concordia has been found guilty of manslaughter.
This after fleeing the ship while many of its passengers and crew were still on board. Francisco Schettino was then sentenced to 16 years behind bars. He was convicted in the deaths of 32 passengers and crew, as well as charges of causing a shipwreck and abandoning the vessel. Prosecutors had described him as a reckless idiot and asked for more than 26 years behind bars. The captain told the courts yesterday that he was being made a scapegoat. Questions about motive still surround the shooting deaths of 3 Muslim students at the University of North Carolina this morning.
Those deaths were originally suspected to be a hate crime, but some now say the students may have been shot over an ongoing dispute with their neighbor over parking spaces. Either way, police say Craig Stephen Hicks shot a couple of newlyweds and the woman's sister on Tuesday.
Everyone's in shock. We don't know why it happened, and we just want to remember them, not by the way they died, but the way they lived and how they changed everyone's lives that they met.
Hicks turned himself into police later the same night. He's been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. This is bizarre. A headbutt turned into a brawl between a shopper and a Walmart employee over the weekend.
Now the shopper who delivered the headbutt is speaking out. Listen.
I hope she has 2 black eyes, and I hope she remembers me for the rest of her life.
That's Jessica Alberts. She says the fight is an end result of bad customer service during a tax session inside a Walmart in Texas. According to Alberts, the woman in yellow, that's the employee, had trash talked her husband. There you go. There goes the brawl. So she came back to confront her. That's when things really heated up. Alberts is now banned from the Walmart. The employee is on administrative leave. The video more than likely will go viral.
Oh, no kidding, if not already.
Wow, take a look at that.
Crazy.
Time now 6:09. New and developing this morning, police are working to find out what led to the deaths of several people.
Those bodies were discovered in a Rio Rancho home. It's a story that we first brought to you last night. News 13's Catherine Mazzone has been following the very latest developments today. She's live in Rio Rancho with updated information. Catherine?
Good morning, Adam. A very different scene from what we saw last night. Police told us yesterday evening that they'd likely be investigating late into the night, but they still haven't told us who died, how many people died, or how they died. Now take a look at the scene from last night. Here's what we know so far. A Rio Rancho officer discovered the individuals at around 5:30 yesterday evening at a home on 18 Court near Southern and Country Club Drive.
He immediately summoned emergency medical care to determine if indeed they were deceased. It was verified that they were. The deaths have been deemed suspicious at this point.
Police say that officer was originally called out to the home for a civil matter, but Rio Rancho police aren't saying what that civil matter was. Police say detectives are getting search warrants and processing evidence to find out exactly what happened.
We are interviewing several people at this point in time. Nobody has been arrested for any crime. However, again, we continue to investigate the events that led up to those deaths.
Now, at this point, police haven't told us whether they have any suspects at this time. Back to you, Adam.
All right, Catherine, thank you. We are staying on top, of course, of the latest information all morning long as it comes into our newsroom. We will keep you updated on air and online at KRQE.com.
People kicked out of a homeless camp in downtown Albuquerque are waking up this morning at a new location. People living at 10 City packed up and moved from First and Iron to this empty lot a few blocks away on 2nd in Santa Fe. Monday, the city gave campers an order to leave by this morning or face a judge. The Borellis Neighborhood Association and Borellis Community Coalition stepped in and gave campers written permission to stay in a vacant lot that they own.
That this lot right here was selected by the neighborhood, it's owned by the neighborhood, and they can't kick us out with Borellis backing us and giving us permission to stay here.
The center plans on building on the lot, but construction is not slated for at least 3 years.
6:34 this morning, APD is still looking for this man. He's wanted for questioning in a city bus stabbing. It all unfolded within seconds, and it was all caught on video.
It's him.
The The man sitting down was with his girlfriend when they spotted her ex on the bus 2 weeks ago. Some words were exchanged, then it got violent, and that's when the man grabbed a knife and started stabbing his girlfriend's ex, the guy with the cap. The fight spilled onto the sidewalk. That suspect then walked back onto the bus.
I'm already a warrant, dog.
Go, can you go?
A driver refused to leave, so that suspect and his girlfriend bolted. ABQ Ride says they have 21 full-time security guards covering 157 fixed bus routes.
It's now 6:35. One group is collecting signatures asking the Department of Justice to investigate APD. So far, Watchdog.net has collected nearly 1,300 online signatures. The group says the department has been bullying DA Carrie Brandenburg after she charged 2 cops with murder for the death of James Boyd. APD also is investigating her for bribing witnesses in a case involving her son. Then her prosecutors were forced to leave the scene of a recent police shooting. Brandenburg, the DOJ, and the city attorney all had no comment on this.
Law enforcement officials are trying to figure out who shattered the windows at one of the federal courthouses downtown. That courthouse is home to bankruptcy court and a post office. It hasn't been confirmed, but it looks like somebody shot at them. We have reached out to the FBI, but we haven't received an update. New Mexico lawmakers will consider 2 bills that would help young athletes who suffer concussions and brain injuries. Senator Bill Sol's bill requires students and parents to sign a waiver saying they've reviewed information on concussions. If it's not signed, then they can't play. The second bill, written by Senate Majority Leader Michael Sanchez, would keep those who suffer a concussion from participating in non-scholastic sports until cleared by a doctor. It also recommends that demands that coaches receive proper brain injury training.
What's sure to be a controversial issue, a bill that could give healthcare employers the option of refusing to hire smokers and other tobacco users. Senator Gerald Ortiz-Pino is sponsoring the bill. If passed, it would amend a 1991 law that made it illegal for any New Mexico employer to refuse to hire them or to require them not to smoke outside of work.
Time 6:37, new this morning. You could soon pay to use paper grocery bags in Santa Fe. This after the city's plastic bag ban failed to encourage shoppers to buy reusable bags. City officials announced an ordinance that would require retail establishments to charge for paper bags. When the city council approved that plastic bag ban, which went into effect a year ago, councilors removed a proposed 10-cent fee for paper bags. But what city officials found was that most people switched from plastic to paper after the ban. The ban only affects grocery stores. The proposal goes before the council in March. Also new on this Thursday morning, the capital city is also considering banning the sale of miniature bottles of liquor within city limits. The ordinance was introduced during yesterday's city council meeting. Supporters for the proposed ordinance say it's because they find those bottles littering the streets, and they hope the city can benefit from it. This would ban any single-serving container of alcoholic beverage in sizes of 8 ounces or less. The council is set to vote on that proposal April 8th. It appeared to be a deal too good to be true.
And apparently it was. United Airlines says thousands of travelers bought first-class airfare from Europe to the U.S. for about $70, but it's not honoring those tickets. The deal was posted early Wednesday on travel blogs and forums. To get the tickets, you had to be traveling from Europe, mainly the UK, to America, and book your flight on United's Denmark site. United says the mistake was not made by the airline. It was made by a vendor that had applied an incorrect currency exchange rate. The airline voided the bookings connected to that mistake.
Disappointed customers there, I know.
Oh, yeah. A couple shopping at a Goodwill in Asheville, North Carolina, made the thrift store score of a lifetime.
Yeah, a sweater, right? But the previous owner just so happens to be a famous football player. The couple came upon this vintage West Point sweater once worn by football legend Vince Lombardi when he was an assistant coach at the academy. Here's the deal. The couple paid 58 cents for that sweater.
I think it's that guy Lombardi, and then that's when my heart kind of sinks into my stomach a little bit.
Wow. So researchers confirmed the sweater did belong to Lombardi and it could sell for $20,000 when it's auctioned off later this month. Lombardi won 5 national championships and 2 Super Bowls as head coach for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and the husband says that the Pro Football Hall of Fame actually wanted it for free.
We'll see if that turns out that way.
Let me tell you exactly what he said, though. My wife put the kibosh on that. That's a direct quote.
Yep.